This video is sponsored by Win-Win Technology, your ultimate flight sim hardware solution, featuring the Orion HOTAS, current and future configurations.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. For today's valued viewer request, we have from Don Shoebridge. Hello Don Shoebridge. Can a small warhead weapon bring down a large plane? We're going to use air-to-ground missiles for this because it gives us the ability to use extremely small missiles, whereas the smallest air-to-air missile is going to be about 10 times as big. And when we talk about big, we're talking about the warhead. Generally speaking, there are two ways in which a ground-to-air or an air-to-air missile can kill a bad guy. The first one is that we have a large warhead inside our missile. An example is this, the S-75 Dvina Russian missile. Relatively old, relatively inaccurate. A thumping great warhead at around 200 kilos, like as heavy as a, motorbike or something like that. And it will detonate that warhead when it gets close enough to a thing. That thing could be anything. It could be another missile. It could be the aircraft it's going over. It could be a ship. It could be a tree. It has an omnidirectional radio proximity fusing system. Basically, it just ranges in a ring around the missile. And when that ranging ring detects something, it blows up. It has an omnidirectional frag pattern that spreads out to the side and kills anything that's in that omnidirectional frag pattern. So why is that warhead so big on an S-75? Is it because it's got to take down huge planes? Not really. My understanding is that the size of a warhead is roughly proportional to the missile's accuracy. So if a missile is not particularly accurate, as in it can't get particularly close to an aircraft, maybe 100 feet or something like that, then you've got to put a proximity fuse and a relatively big warhead. If the missile is a very accurate missile that can get very close to an aircraft, then you can just put a very small warhead in it. So it's more about the accuracy rather than causing damage via warhead size. And we're going to go to the other end of the ground-to-air spectrum now. We've got a 9K38 Igla. This is a handheld Russian missile, I guess similar to the American Stinger missile. Because it's handheld, it's got to be very small. 1.17 kilos, nearly 200 times smaller with only 390 grams of explosive. Note that this missile is so accurate by the way that it works, its seeking system, by its control system, by its weight and whatnot, that it doesn't have a proximity fuse. It has to actually hit the thing it's firing at to actually blow up. Hence why you've been in DCS and you've been shot at by manpads and these things have come zip, zip, zip past your cockpit and not exploding because it hasn't actually touched what we call a contact and a grazing fuse. But even though it's 200 times smaller in power, it's still pretty deadly. So to reiterate, a large missile, usually a medium or long range missile, generally speaking is not particularly accurate. It's designed not to actually hit your aircraft, but to fly beside your aircraft within a certain range. A radio fuse will set it off, a frag pattern will explode, and you'll probably get hit just by the amount of frag and the amount of explosive. A very small, almost always close range weapon has a very small warhead because it doesn't need to cover much distance between it and the target. And in fact, it's going to actually ram into your aircraft and almost explode from the inside out. And 1 kilo, a couple of hand grenades, is going to destroy your aircraft. And the examples we've looked at so far are all relatively legacy systems. S-75 is pretty much a legacy system. Igla, I think, is still used. But if we went to a very modern, and in some cases futuristic missile, even medium and long range, nowadays they are so accurate that they can actually hit their target, even if the target is another missile. And because they're so accurate, they don't even have explosive warheads in them. Now the actual question was, can a small missile take down a big plane? Well, when it comes to the actual damage of a plane, I would imagine it's all about luck. If we're using a small warhead, this small warhead hits the aircraft in a critical place where it can sever hydraulic, electric cables that control surfaces, sure, why not? If it hits the aircraft, big aircraft we're talking about here, in a generic place, maybe it's not going to be enough to actually take the aircraft down. But if a big missile hits a big aircraft, it will almost certainly blow it to pieces. If that S-75 Dvina hit a large aircraft, there is just so much power that even exploding from 100 feet away and so much shrapnel, it'll probably just cut even a big aircraft in half. And in fact, we saw that on the MH17 that was shot down. A Buk SA-11 missile with a medium-sized warhead exploded near the cockpit and just took the whole front of the plane off. So when we're talking about small warheads on big aircraft, any predictions before we go and set that up?
You hit it on the head when you said that it has to hit a critical place and it'll take it down. Otherwise, probably just cause damage.
Roger, and we'll have to see if that's modelled in DCS. Super simple. We've got two different SAM sites. The first is a Igla S Grouse. The second is an S-75 Divino that we looked at before. So 1 kilo warhead, 200 kilo warhead. So we'll first start a few tries with the Igla. Here is our lovely Ilyushin at about 72,000 kilos, 72 tons. He's going to have a bad day. Tracking. Missile out. There we go, RC. Right in the gob, as we say in this country. Right in the gob! Look at those little contact pins. Touch my contact pin. Touch my contact pin. That's going to hit him. Oh, really? It literally didn't touch his contact pin? Never mind. Right, we could be here all day. Look, you see it explode. Tiny little explosion behind. Right, this will be it. This will be it. Zap! That's in the face. Oh, that's got him. There is no way that can escape. Explosion is a bit big for a 1 kilo warhead. I mean, look at that. It looks like a 500 pounder.
Oh, if it hit fuel,
there you go. That's a fair point.
it would be bigger.
Shrugs it off. Shrugs it off. So far, one hit with a 1 kilo warhead. Damage, but I think it can go and do a mission. No obvious smoke, no engines gone. Let's try that again. Miss. That was a miss. First one always misses for some reason. I don't know why, don't worry about it. This is a hit. Boom.
Not random.
He shrugged it off, RC. Shrugged it off. Okay, try it again.
2.
No, I don't want to try. I just want the first hit is what I really care about. If we start having multiple missiles on one aircraft, it's going to start getting a bit confusing. The missile just doesn't like it. Miss and 3. Exactly the same. So we're seeing the same amount of damage each time. Note it's hitting the plane in the same place every time in the fuselage. And this is a relatively simple model in DCS, unlike ones you can fly, which are much more complex. But, you know, rough parts will be modelled in terms of damage. And it's not taking any damage in the fuselage so far. Let's try again. Fourth try, I think this is now. First one will miss. Double check it's missed. It's missed. Next one will hit in the fuselage. We'll get some cracks, but no damage. Yep, shrugs it off. Okay. Just for fun, we'll watch a second missile. This will probably kill it. Come on, mate. Just shoot the plane. It's going really slow. It's really big. It's relatively hot. And he's given up. Right, well, we've done the best we can. What we found there is that a 1 kilo warhead will do some damage to the aircraft, but not enough, at which point even a simple large model will say, okay, I can't go and do whatever I need to do. It's going to go and do whatever it's programmed to do at this point and do it successfully. Next, let's go try a 200 kilo Smackaroonie warhead. Welcome back, valued viewers. So this is going to be very different. I mean, look at the size of the thing. I should have put a human right next to it, shouldn't I? Although it looks very menacing, it's not going to be very accurate. It's almost certainly not going to hit the aircraft with an impact, and that's because it can't. This is 1960s technology at the end of the day, maybe even late 50s. It's not very accurate. It can get in the ballpark, and that's it. Boom! Booster section off. It's actually going to hit it now. Watch that. But that is atypical for a missile like this. In fact, it's going to miss. Look, it actually went between the starboard inner engine and the fuselage, and it's exploded at this point here. Note how it explodes slightly before it hits the plane, and that's because its frag pattern, although it goes sideways, also has the momentum of the missile, 2,000 knots or whatever, pushing it forwards. A little bit too far forwards, in my opinion, in this case here, but you get the idea. And obviously, you can see this plane's going to disintegrate. The reason it's disintegrating is because it's saying a missile is exploding with this frag pattern, and I want the explosion to affect all of these parts, inner wing, outer wing, inner wing, the other side, tail, fuselage, this many hit points of damage, or however it works out, you know, and the rest is history. Wow, look at that, the damage. That's what a 200 kilo warhead will do to you. So that's why, even if you're fighting an SA-2 from 1960 in your fancy modern all dancing, all singing Hornet, be careful, because that missile's only got to get within the range of a football field and it will just atomize everything around it. So it is still a dangerous weapon. In terms of DCS, that's as far as it's going to go. It just says apply this many damage hit points to this bit where it hit for the Igla, and in that case it doesn't do anything for an IL-76. Sorry, not much to an IL-76. For a small plane like a, I don't know, Spitfire, it will probably still break its back and blow it in half. I'm not going to try it because it's not what was in our brief. If a big war-headed missile like a Dvina explodes anywhere near a big aircraft, it pretty much atomizes it. Anything you want to add, RC?
Nope.
I hope you enjoyed that and see you later.